Wagwan people, we are back for another Fourever Arsenal. Not in the studio today because we're doing it a day early because, of course, in the morning, me and Lee are off super early to Prague, where Arsenal are going to be taking on Sparta Prague. And we don't know what the internet will be like once we do arrive there, so we thought we better get the show in before we go. And we'll be talking a bit more about Slavia Prague and Arsenal's trip there a little bit later, but must begin talking about the game against Burnley. And joining me, of course, we got Curtis, we've got Jack, and of course we have Mr. Lee, the Godfather Judges. And you're going to understand why I'm called him the Godfather when you hear him speak very shortly. I mean, Lee, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. I'm still rough. I'm really rough. I don't know. What are you laughing at, Jack? That's, you know, I mean, it's a bit of sympathy from the youngster. You know what I mean?
I'm a cop, you'll be all right.
Oh, I'll tell you what. Yesterday, I made my debut, didn't I? Yesterday, doing the fan cam, like interviewing you, Rob, and I don't know how I got through that.
You did all right.
I done all right considering I had no voice, but yeah, you know. I ain't been well, and on the way home yesterday, I was in a terrible state. Luckily, we had Steve driving us. Yeah, like a nice big van, didn't we? You know, normally we're all bunched up like a tin of sardines, so everybody would have been ill, like. But everybody kept away from me, like, you know. So, but I don't know how Joe is, because Joe was he was cutting up rough at the end and all, wasn't he? Like, you know what I mean? So,
oh, was he?
Bloody Cecil's party, I think that's what's done it all, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. If you've ever seen that, I've never seen, guys, I've got to say, Jack was there, like, you know, what was it like, Jack? It was the most embarrassing entrance I've ever seen to a party.
It was like we went for the Queen, wasn't it?
I thought the Queen, Michael Jackson, and
the rest of them
turned up like bright light. He put a red carpet down, like, you know what I mean? Like, it was embarrassing, boys. I've got to say.
Cecil's entrance.
Oh my God.
That's very Cecil, though, isn't it? You know,
it was like a Willian debut for Arsenal. I'm telling you, like, you know what I mean? Not memorable. Not memorable.
I know, it was brilliant, though. I enjoyed it, man. I enjoyed it. It was a great party. Great party.
Jack, you know what I mean? There is people that turn up one time, aren't there? Like, you know, let's get this right. It says 7 o'clock till 2 o'clock, right? At 9:30, the host isn't even there. It's ridiculous. Like, you know, parties are going to. You've got to be the first one there to, you know, so he don't turn up till 9:30. I left at 11 o'clock, 11:15. Robbie wasn't even there. Yeah, you know
what? Robbie was in the bashment scene back in the day, man. You don't turn up to a party till like 2 hours before the end, man. You know what I mean? You can't be there early, man.
Now, Lee, I'm sure you've got some black friends, yeah. I don't know who they are because I'm not one of them, but you do have some black friends that I know of, right? Yeah, you should know by now, right? We don't turn up early, 7:30. I mean, how many black people was there at 7:30?
No, there weren't. No, it was all the white guys, wasn't it? Jack, us guys, wasn't it? Like, you know, I didn't see any of them, like, you know. When I went to Kevin's funeral, God bless him, they said 10 o'clock. And when we got there, we was the only ones there. And they said, Kevin's aunt is going, this is Jamaican time. This is why we do this. You know what I mean? They say 10 o'clock, but really they mean 12 o'clock.
There you go. There you go. It was a brilliant party. It was a brilliant party. And it was great to see everybody there. And yeah, it was a great night, man. Great night. But not a wise thing the night before, you know, then having to travel all the way up to Burnley. But Burnley was all right. I mean, guys, talk to me, man. What did you make about that performance? I mean, for me, that is one of the most complete away performances I've seen from Arsenal for a very long time. Got the goals, controlled the game. Fantastic. I mean, Curtis, what did you make of it?
Yeah, I was happy, man. I was happy. You know what? The predictions are now getting caught in my head when I'm watching the games. So at half time, I'm rubbing my hands together. I'm going 2-0 already. This is an easy 3 or 4-0. Hopefully the 3-0. Then I see Gyökeres off at half time. I'm like, oh, I'm in trouble here. And do you know what? I thought at half time, I don't know how you felt in the stadium, boys, but I was thinking the floodgates are going to open it.
Yeah.
You know, we tore them apart. Second half, I think a lot of people have been critical of Gyökeres this season. I think people saw how important he is, apart from goals. Because first of all, I thought that was one of his best performances yesterday. Second of all, you saw the goal threat up front wasn't the same when he came off, and that physical ability to pin defenders. Marino, a lot of the time, Marino's rolling around on the floor trying to win free kicks. Wasn't quite the same, but I thought, like you said, Robbie, I thought, to go up to Burnley, and a lot of people say, oh, it's only Burnley, but, Liverpool 1-0 win in the 93rd minute. We tore them to bits yesterday. I thought Gyökeres was brilliant. I thought Declan Rice yesterday was absolutely outstanding. And I saw he dedicated the goal to his auntie who passed away, which is obviously really sad for him. And I think, he sort of plays that well every week that we just sort of take it for granted. Rice put in a great performance again. But, when you look at it, what a signing he has become and what a leader he is as well. Another clean sheet, which I just expect clean sheet. I'm expected 2 more clean sheets this week as well already. But no, great performance, solid performance, and I think we conserved energy in the second half, which was good with the week ahead. So yeah, positive trip apart from Lee sounding like Cafe out of EastEnders now. But yeah, pretty good trip.
What about you, Jack?
Oh, it was a great game. I mean, I was actually kind of worried in the first 5 to 10 minutes. I thought they looked quite good. I mean, not the typical Burnley side that they've been used to over the years. I think their home record recently, with the Championship included, I think they maybe lost one or maybe 2 home games last year.
One.
So I never thought it would be as easy as a lot of people were saying to. But it was Burnley on the ball. I thought they were quite good on the ball in the first 10 minutes when it was still 0. I thought they looked really good. I thought their rotations were good. They were getting a lot of second balls. We were playing quite long to Gyökeres at the start, and they were winning a lot of them second balls. But yeah, I think a flick just switched about 15 minutes in. Obviously, the first goal definitely helped. But yeah, I think, as you said, Robbie, it was the controlled aspect of the game. I think as soon as that first goal went in, there was zero worry that we were going to lose that game. And I think maybe sometimes last season, we'd sort of score and then sort of retreat back and let teams press onto us and sort of maybe invite that second goal sometimes. But yesterday, we got the goal and then straight away we're looking for a second. And I think it sort of sums up maybe the maturity we've brought to us this season compared to last season in the way that we approach games when we're already winning. Gyökeres, again, genuinely think that was his best game for us in terms of all-round play. He got his goal as well against one of the smaller teams, is what we've been saying we bought him for. But I think there was a time he had the ball on the right-hand side of the pitch and he sort of volleyed it with the inside of his boot, across to Trossard. I think it's just before the second goal. It was stuff like that was really impressive. There's a time when he sort of chested it, played it around the corner to Saka, and Saka had a chance. He sort of just seemed to bring his all-round game just up that next level yesterday.
Yeah, I thought he did that. I thought he was superb yesterday, and the one thing that I don't know, it's been really interesting. Like Kirsty just said, if the floodgates would have opened up if he was on, I do believe that. But I also thought, coming out second half, I thought, oh, do you know what? I've lost me 2-0 here. This is going to be 3 or 4. But I thought, I was talking to Russ, and a big up to Russ, done a very good fan cam yesterday. We were saying that maybe Arsenal will conserve a bit of energy in the second half because they've got Prague, then they've got the game against Sunderland. But that to me was what they done. I think I look back at the highlights when I got home last night. We created so many chances in that first half. Saka had one-on-ones. We had one-on-ones. We haven't had any of that. I can't remember when we was getting one-on-ones, and we looked I thought that was as good as first half performances I've seen for a very, very long while. And they're no mugs. They're no mugs. You're right, Jack. They was strong on the tackle. I thought, a well organised team. And I think they will cause problems at home. I don't think they're going to win every game at home. Of course they're not, but I think that they will. Teams are going to find it hard to break them down. But I think we found it easy yesterday in that first half. And second half, I just think we was in cruise control. Never felt that we was going to concede a goal, And I think that is the thing with me at the moment, is that there's been times when you're watching Arsenal and we're 2-0 up and cruising, and then we're hanging on right at the end, and it's not great. But with this team here, as soon as we went 2-0 up, I said, that's it, 3 points done. And I was saying to Russ, I was I had a bit of a restless night before, because I'm worried about the result and all that. And he turned around and he said, what are you worrying about all these for? And I can't help it, like, you know what I mean? But it was a very, very good win yesterday. I was so pleased. And the only thing that's a worry for me now is Gyökeres is injured. And Zubamendi, who I think controlled the game fantastically well yesterday from midfield. I thought he was really, really good as well. I know Rice gets the plaudits and everything, and rightly so, but he's been a fantastic signing for us as well. And he went down after about 70 odd minutes. So two big worries for us going into this big game now against Sunderland and of course Prague as well.
Yeah, I mean, Lee, I don't know if you remember, right? What was telling for me yesterday is I remember after the game and we're walking back to the van, and there was a Burnley fan who actually showed us, big up to that Burnley fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said to us, he goes, I reckon you lot will win it. He goes, you're the best team we played this season by a mile. He goes, and we've played, remember they played Liverpool and they played Man City. And he was saying, the Man City game, he goes, even though they got a bit of a pasting at the Etihad, he goes, that didn't really reflect the game because it was 1-1 at half time and it was really close for a lot of the game. And then City just sort of went on a madness right at the end. Haaland got his hat-trick there in that game. But he said, he goes, you guys are the best side. He goes, we didn't lay a glove on you. And, he goes, we put the effort in, but we just couldn't get close. And he goes, I feel you guys are the best side. And that's the biggest compliment when you hear that from a Burnley fan. By the way, big up the Burnley fans, right? Because they were funny yesterday, right? Ty was near where I was sitting, right? And the Burnley fans broke out. Ty, he tries to give it and all that. I'll tell you, if you ever sit near this guy, he's trying to give it to the Burnley fans. And they started singing to him, headphones again, ole, ole, headphones again. I'll tell you, it was so funny, man. Big up to those Burnley fans for that chant. I think Joe captured it as well, right? So Vice Premier League show tomorrow, that's got to get played. But it was really, really funny. But and I said it in my fan cam yesterday. How do you beat this Arsenal team at this moment in time? Because traditionally, and you're right, Jack, Burnley have got a good home record this season. They've only lost to Liverpool. I think before yesterday, they'd only lost one game in, I can't remember, it was like about 20 games or something like that at home. I know some of that was in the Championship, but they're very resolute at home. And I thought that, looking at it, it was a brilliant performance by us. And I'm trying to work out how, if you're a team like Burnley, how do you go about beating Arsenal? You're going to have to depend on a lot of luck because you can't use physicality no more. We know that once upon a time we go to them type of places and we get bullied. Remember, places like Burnley, Stoke, them gritty type of places, that would be their weapon. Their weapon would be, let's kind of bully Arsenal off their game a little bit and we'll get a bit of joy. If you've got players like Gabriel, Saliba, Timber, Calafiori, Rice, Gyökeres, you can't do that. The bullying thing ain't going to work. The roughing up thing ain't going to work. Because if you do that, those players will love that and they'll rise to that. You're not going to outplay Arsenal with the amount of technical players that Arsenal have got. That's out of the window, right? So you just go in long and direct, with loads of long throws and going really direct, which is what, Burnley tried to do yesterday. They didn't have a shot on goal, on target, on goal. They have 3 shots, none on target, right? So how do you beat this team? They're really, really tough to beat. Those sort of attributes that Arsenal have got at the moment makes them, a real team that could go all the way and win this title because they are so difficult to beat. Hence why we're not conceding goals. I was thinking a lot about it. I was also watching the highlights, Lee. And, whilst you're right, Jack, you know what I mean? I thought Burnley were a decent side. You can't fault them for the amount of effort they put in. They're pretty decent on the ball as well. But they just didn't lay a glove on Arsenal. And the other thing is as well, you can see that those defenders, they are fighting to keep that clean sheet. It's a pride thing now. They don't want to give up that clean sheet thing. I mean, Burnley nearly at the end with that free kick that they hit the post nearly. But I don't know, man. Right now, at this moment in time, it just looks like you're going to need probably a slice of luck to beat Arsenal. It looks solid. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking there, 12 clean sheets in 15 games. So, I mean, our defensive record's unreal. And Rice was saying in his interview after the game how much pride the two centre-backs take in that clean sheet. He said it's like a goal for a striker for them. You know, they're celebrating. Obviously, you get a clean sheet bonus and, you know, you get judged on that as a defender. If you look at the 3 goals we've conceded, a corner at Newcastle, a free kick at Liverpool, and a counter-attack against Man City when we kind of committed bodies forward and got caught out by Haaland. So there's not many ways at the moment that you're going to score against us, which is why we're
only one from open play.
Yeah, which is the Man City goal, which you know, I actually think we should have stopped that goal a bit earlier, but you know, we didn't deal with it. But yeah, just the thing that sort of I want to see with this Arsenal team is when we go behind in games. I think City and Newcastle, I think, and obviously the Liverpool game.
Two's enough, guys. Two's enough. Two's enough.
Two's enough. Well, yeah, no, we don't want it to happen, obviously, but that's the sort of thing you're thinking. If we ended up 1 or 2-0 down in a game, can they go through the gears then and go and score like 3 goals and come back? Obviously, we hope we're not in that situation at all, but that's sort of the one question I would ask of the team, because I've said it so many times. I don't think we're in top gear in the attack. I still think Gyökeres, you sort of saw him close to what we want to see yesterday. I thought Trossard was a lot better in the first half. Some great ball, put a great ball in for Rice. Got bullied a couple of times by Walker, but I think we knew Walker physically would impose himself. Saka, I got a bit of flack on my watch along yesterday because I was a little bit critical of him. And if you criticize Saka, mate, I'm telling you, they come for you in the comments, man. Do you know what I mean? But I thought he should have scored yesterday. And I think you could tell that he was desperate to get a goal because his numbers are not that high this season in terms of goals and assists, even though some of his performances have been really good. Eze, I thought first half was quite good, but I'm still looking for a little bit more from him, you know. As Jack said 7 or 8 times this season.
No, I'm not saying it this time. Curtis said that, not me.
I thought Ethan did really well when he came on as well. That little 360 pirouette he did, and then the driving runner. We've just got great options at the moment. And then, you know, Arteta's saying after the game that Madueke and Odegaard should be back after the international break. I'm looking at the bench thinking, you're going to have to leave first team players out of the whole squad. And then, you know, Havertz and then Jesus and, you know, so you're gonna have problems moving forward. But confidence is high at the moment, man. We feel like we've got a brick wall in defence. I think when you know as an attacking player your defence is that good, you know you've got a great chance of winning every game. So yeah, it's good at the moment, very good.
No, it's looked really good. I just think with me, the only thing I'm sort of worried about, I wouldn't say worried, but cautious about, is that the bigger teams that we're playing. I mean, Atletico Madrid was a bit of an outlier. Obviously, absolutely smashed them. But I'm thinking back to Man United, first game of the season. Of course, we won. But if you remember the performance, Man United easily could have got something from that game. They had quite a few chances. We weren't at our best. Then I was thinking about Man City. We didn't win the game. Yeah, we looked good, but we dropped points again. Liverpool, we didn't look great and dropped points. And it's like, we're now coming up to that period where we've got the North London derby, we've got Chelsea, we've got Bayern Munich, all in a very short period of time. I just want to see if we've got the materials to come out of them 3 games and still clean sheet record and winning every game. Then, yeah, I think fans might start to get a bit excited if they're not already. But I do want to see us just sort of consistently beat that bigger team, because we haven't done so far this season. Not that we haven't looked good against like a City where we probably should have won, but we haven't had the results there. So I don't want to go too overboard with the wins at Burnley and Fulham, etc., until we've sort of got that North London derby and Chelsea out the way.
It's interesting you say that about Eze as well, because I was a little bit disappointed with him yesterday. Like, you know, I thought we would sort of take the game by the scruff of the neck. and actually Wanyeri did when he come on, like, you know, and I think like it's the case of him trying to feel his way into how he's playing in this team. I think Wanyeri has been about with the team for a year or so he really knows what it needs to be done and all that. I think he's pushing for a start now, Wanyeri, particularly on Tuesday over Eze. I'd actually play Eze on the left-hand side on Tuesday because I still think he needs to get into keep playing and all that. But I just think the system isn't helping Eze at the moment. Not he's just got to work it out. Like, you know, he's played a completely different system at Crystal Palace. So I still think he's feeling his way into the team. And this is the problem that we got with these injuries because, you know, you'd be able to feel your way into this team without the pressure of these winning games. And listen, for me, it is about winning against Burnley. It's about winning against Sunderland. But you're right, Jack. When we play against Tottenham, Bayern Munich and Chelsea, I think we've got to show a little bit more about us as an attacking unit. Like if we're going to win those sort of games, at the minute it's not a concern because for these next two games we've all said it's just about winning. Don't matter how you win, it's just about winning. Going forward, we've got to show a little bit more. And you know, like the likes of Odegaard, you know, hopefully he will be back because I think for the first time. I think a few Arsenal fans were saying yesterday, look, we're missing him. We're missing him, you know, from an attacking point of view. You imagine with all that control, and then you've got that player that just gets the ball and just, you know, takes the game from the scruff of the neck going forward. How much difference we will be. We've got to get the likes of Havertz back. We've got to get the likes of Madueke back because I've got to say this, Saka, you know, I haven't been
careful.
Yeah. I was worried yesterday when I done the players' ratings. I said I've got to give him a 5, and you know what I mean, because he's Saka. I said, should I give a 6? But I went with it because and Robbie went, I agree with it, so I knew I was on the right lines because Robbie's always giving him 9s and 10s. So, I honestly think with Saka. I think he come back a little bit too early from the injury, like you know, and I think that he struggled. I don't think he's 100% fit, so you can't be criticising him. But I'm worried about him, like you know what I mean, that we're giving him too many minutes when he shouldn't be getting them, like you know. And I just felt, you know, like yesterday weren't his greatest game, but I'm gonna, you know, give him a little bit of leeway because of that, like you know, I think if Madueke was about, I think he would have played a lot less and would have been a little bit more fresher. You know, do you know what I mean? But yeah, I think that's the only concern at the moment, that all of our injuries at the moment seem to be in the attacking third, and the reason is because Gyökeres is having to play all the time. Saka's having to play all the time because these guys have not been about. You know, we haven't had Jesus, we haven't had Havertz all season, really. I think he played 10 minutes at Old Trafford. I haven't seen him since. You know, we need these guys back, and we need them back fast.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think I don't know what to make of the two players coming off, because is this also though the consequence of having a good squad and a big squad that now, you know, because on both of them he said they felt something, so they've just taken them off. Right, off you come. Because they know that they've got players they can bring on. And remember the other day with Saliba, he's like, he felt something straight off, but then he was, you know, he didn't play during the week. And then he played yesterday, he played the whole 90 minutes. So is this the consequences of having a good squad now, where if somebody is feeling something, I mean, Declan Rice the other day came off, and remember they just took him straight off, right?
Yeah.
Is this now Arsenal learning and saying, right, the minute a player is feeling a little sort of muscular discomfort, take them off, because we've got other players that we can bring on. We've got a big squad, got a good squad. It's a deep squad. We can bring on a player to replace him and make sure that sort of I felt something doesn't turn into something worse because you've played him for the whole game, then the game after that, then the game after that, and then next minute, you know, that player's out for a couple of months. So I'm hoping that that's the case. I'm hoping that Arsenal are learning from, you know, the amount of injuries that they picked up last year. But yeah, you're right, Lee. Those guys to come back, and timely that they're going to be coming back for the Tottenham and Chelsea game. And I take your point what you said there earlier, Jack, but actually think of it, a lot of those games against those sort of big rivals came early in the season. I think if Arsenal played Liverpool now, I think we'd have a bit more confidence and say we wouldn't have been as cautious as we was when we played them. You know, that was what, the second game of the season, third game of the season. I think we would have been a little less cautious because I think we would have seen that there'd be more things we could exploit. And I think the Man City game, I couldn't believe how deep they played against us. I mean, as I said, a lot of teams are really fair in this Arsenal team right now. I think they realise that you've got to be careful if you concede against them. You know, it could be a long way back when you play us. So, but yeah, I'll take your point, Jack. And of course, those games coming up after the international break, Tottenham, Bayern, and Chelsea. For me, it's particularly the two against in the Premier League. Tottenham, who have been better on the road. They're absolutely, we'll talk a bit about them in a sec, actually. But they've been actually crap at home. But on the road, their style's been a lot better, and they've had a good record on the road. And Chelsea, who you don't know what you're going to get from Chelsea. I mean, they're a decent attacking team, but they can be got at unless you're Spurs. I mean, let's talk about that. I don't know if you guys saw that yesterday. Yeah. Spurs, dreadful at home they've been, right? You know, dreadful at home. There's some Spurs fans saying to me, oh, injuries. I had to remind them about the injuries we've had as well, right? And such a lackluster performance from them. And I don't know if you saw at the end when, you know, Van der Ven and Jed Spence just blanked Thomas Frank. Does this bode well for us? Or we got them coming up? You know what I mean? Don't look to be all going great at Tottenham right now. Actually, was it the Xavi Simons? I mean, Expressions was calling him Czar on my show. When we did the best of enemies on Friday. But listen, they're going to be tough games coming up after the international break. But I think if we can get through those, we're starting to look decent.
Yeah, I mean, I did watch that game yesterday. They were shocking. One shot on target. It's the only thing is, I think with the derby, I think form sort of goes out the window a little bit. You know, it's a totally individual game sort of by itself, and we kind of owe them one. I know it was only pre-season, but obviously you boys went to that game. I flew back, but I really didn't like that pre-season game in Hong Kong. So I think we owe them one. But yeah, Xavi Simons is they're throwing him in with Wirtz and that now, saying he's one of the worst signings of the season. And Chelsea always seem to do Tottenham at the lane. You know, they're calling it 3-point lane. Yeah, 3-point lane. And I think Lampard started that saying, didn't he? But I was shocked by how dominant Chelsea were. I think they had like 15, 16 shots, and Tottenham never looked like scoring. And I know they've got a few injuries, but I mean, Mawani was a player that cost 70 million like 2 years ago, and he's just not offering anything. And I like seeing Van der Ven and Spence do that because you think, okay, you know, I want a few fallouts with the manager just before we play him. So, but yeah, I suppose. As I say, form goes out the window on that day, so we do have to still be a little bit.
United next week, am I right?
Yeah, Man United next week, 12:30 kick-off.
Where's that at? Whose ground's that?
At Tottenham, because we're away, aren't we? So, like, you know, listen, I think, listen, don't give yourself back, Spurs. They're a completely different team away from home. You know what I mean? And it's the way they set up and play, you know what I mean? That when they're at home, they're being asked to perhaps attack a little bit more, and, you know, they look a very, very good at counter-attacking team. You know, that game in Hong Kong, as you say about, like, you know, as Robbie was going, it's only friendly, but at the end of the day, like, you know, they was we couldn't break them down, you know, so they're going to be like that when they come to us. It's going to be a difficult game, but when you're at home, they're expected to open up a little bit, and they haven't got the powers to be like it. I can't believe it. I actually looked at that game and thought that they'd get something from it, and Chelsea would be right down in a little bit of trouble. If Chelsea would have lost that yesterday, they could be like looking at getting a new manager. You know what I mean? It'd have been about 10th or whatever, but they just have something over Spurs where they just turn up. Do you remember last time they played? I think it was a couple of years ago when everybody got set up. I think Tottenham were on an unbelievable run of 10 games. They go there. win. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how they do it. Like I think they just continue to keep winning there. And you know, I did see the highlights of that game yesterday. I thought I'd watch it. Like Simmons. You know, felt like if he weren't a Spurs player, I'd feel sorry for him. He comes on after a few minutes, gets substituted. Of course, you know what I mean. He's the big thing that everybody didn't want, and they got. So listen, and them argue like they can say what they want. That ain't a good look what them two players done yesterday. I don't care what anybody says. That ain't a good look. You know what I mean? That is not a good look. I don't know if you noticed it yesterday at Burnley. Marino was walking down the tunnel without. I think he just, you know, was just wandering, and someone on the coaching staff reminded him of it, and he went, oh yeah, and he ran back over, like I do think team spirit and things like that are a big thing. So. Yeah, like the more fallouts they have, the better. Love it.
Yeah,
I think
it was a friendly, by the way.
Yeah.
What difference has that made, right, so far to our start of the season? You know what I mean? So that just goes to show.
With Tottenham, it's funny because there's a lot of talk about the way we're playing this season and set pieces and are we playing the most attractive football, and rivals love talking about that. But with Tottenham, they've scored 2 goals at home since the start of September. And the way they're playing, especially I think the last game, they scored 2 goals from a corner, long throws, heavily reliant on set pieces. I think their lineup yesterday, I think they played 3 different. They've had Pape Mate Sarr, João Paulinho, and another defensive-minded midfielder in midfield. They're setting up quite rigid, even in a home game. And it's quite funny to see, like, after all the nonsense they were talking about us and how we set up, to just see them try and sort of replicate what we're doing without the results and without the success. So I don't know. It sort of shows that, like, it's not just as simple as taking a corner or taking a set piece or taking a throw in, as people are making it out to be for us. I think it is something that Arteta's drilled into them. I think it is something we need to credit the manager for more a bit. I do think that maybe the past couple of weeks we've been very like, oh, Rice is amazing, Zubimendi, Gyökeres, a lot of talk. But I think when something goes wrong, we're really quick to jump on Arteta and sort of let him know that we would have done it better and he's in the wrong. But right now, things have been going really, really well. We're breaking records for clean sheet records and goal games without conceding, etc. It's a good time to just look at what Mikel Arteta has done. Still his first job in management. Yes, he's had a few years now, and it is time it all starts to come together. But it is coming together. So all the fans that are sort of like, we need to win something this season, we're in good stead to actually achieve that this season. So let's just make sure we're staying behind the team and staying behind the manager. But touching on the set pieces, I want to ask you guys as well. Declan Rice, I think that he might be the best English set piece taker I've ever seen. So I don't know if you guys want to throw a David Beckham or a James Ward-Prowse at me, but the consistency that he's putting the ball in that exact danger area. I was saying to my friend yesterday, he's like the Steph Curry of football. As soon as Steph Curry is outside the paint, he's hitting a free. As soon as Declan Rice is in that corner, he's putting that ball right in front of the goal. And I think it's so much of a skill is being overlooked, the technique he puts into all them corners. But I don't know if you guys have any other suggestions to who's the best right now.
I'd put Beckham ahead of him slightly, just because he scored a lot of free kicks in big moments as well. You know, think about that Greece one and Colombia and all the ones he scored for United. I think Rice, at the moment, I said he's probably the best set piece taker in Europe in terms of corners. Remember, he's not really taking free kicks, is he? You know, since the Real Madrid one, I don't think he's took one and scored one. So I'd say from corners, he's probably the best. But I think overall, I'd still got to say Beckham is the best English one that I've seen.
Do you know, thinking about it, that's the one thing, we don't get many free kicks outside the box, do we?
No.
Like, of all the set pieces that we have, when was the last time we had a free kick outside the box? I can't remember. You know, so like obviously the two at Real Madrid where he was unbelievable. But I'm with you on that. I think Beckham's better at free kicks. He was unreal at free kicks, basically. But I don't think I've seen anybody better from corners than Declan Rice. I actually, you know, Robbie, you said it yesterday, which is a good point. And I do it now. When we get a corner, I look at the away fans, the fans of it. You know, like I look around, and you can see that they're visibly shaken by it. Like, you know what I mean? They don't
worry.
You know, we've got a corner, and the referee's reluctant to give them as well because he thinks, oh, it's a penalty, like, you know what I mean, sort of situation. But yeah, that's a great call. Like, I think like I'd say Beckham like from free kicks. You know what I mean? Like, but Ronald Koeman was very good as well. Remember him, the Dutch fella?
Barcelona days.
Yeah.
But I think from corners, Declan Rice he gets an assist every game from a corner. He does. I know he didn't yesterday because I think that Gabriel gets it, didn't he?
Gabriel, knocked it back across. Yeah.
Yeah, but like it is you know, incredible. Like the actual. He's on the button 9 times out of 10. Now I know it sounds silly, but like if you go and do corners and go right, put it on the button every time. We wouldn't do it that often, and I don't think really professionals do it that often. Like Saka's, do you know what I mean? Very good, but he ain't as good as Rice. You know what I mean? He puts in a lovely corner, but it's not as consistent as Rice.
Yeah, no, Rice. I'll probably go Beckham as well, and you know, I'll tell you, who's the player who used to play for West Ham? Not Ward-Prowse. The French.
Payet.
His free kicks and corners used to be unbelievable as well. But Declan Rice, I said it yesterday, that to me he's the most complete midfielder in Europe right now. In European football, I think he's the best. Like all round, like everything to his game. Like can score goals, scored yesterday. Corners, dead ball situations, unbelievable. Like you said, everybody's talking about our set piece, big up Gabriel and all those guys. But if the delivery ain't right, they ain't got a chance to do anything. Yeah. And the delivery from him is always right. 95% of the times it's on the money, like you said, right? So getting around midfield, I've not seen anyone. I mean, you can compare maybe him and Caicedo, but the way he gets around, the way he wins free kicks, the way he wins back the ball, unbelievable. The way he can pick the ball up and just drive with it. And he can do that like in the 85th minute when everybody else is knackered. He was pick it up, drive. It's unbelievable. I think he could score more goals. And we really got to credit, you said it, Jack, let's give it up again for Arteta, all and coaching staff, right? Because I'd never see this guy take a corner at West Ham, right? We didn't see him doing these things at West Ham, right? He just used to be like more defensive midfielder, play there. You know, we knew about his energy. We knew. Listen, we all knew how good he was. He was great for England as well. But he's got more things to his game now. He's added more things since he's joined Arsenal. And that's obviously down to Arteta and the coaching staff. They're getting so much out of him. He's an incredible footballer. Yesterday's performance was unreal. You know, he's just a joy to watch. He's a leader. He's got everything, isn't it? Leadership qualities, everything. Everything. If you had 11 Declan Rices, you got a great chance of winning the league. If everyone's got his ability and mentality. So I just think he's a absolutely brilliant footballer. And as we say, and what we sing, we got him half price. He's like, you know what I mean? You see other players have been bought for big fees and they've been struggling. You know, we've seen with Wirtz, not saying they can't come good, but from the day that guy's put on an Arsenal shirt, he's been excellent, you know, and consistently good. And that's what you want when you spend that amount of money on a player. I think he's been absolutely brilliant. Let me just give you guys a rundown of the table as it stands. We know that Man City are playing today against Bournemouth, which, by the way, maybe a draw is a good result for us because remember, Bournemouth are in second place at the moment. Arsenal top on 25 points, 7 points clear of Bournemouth, who are in second place on 18. Liverpool, they got their win yesterday. Before that, I mean, literally, Emi Martinez literally gave them the win with all the mistakes he made goalkeeping.
Oh, what was he doing?
He was just dreadful, man. Because before that, Villa had hit the post. They'd come close a couple of times. Right, I was watching the game on the way back home, but Liverpool did get that win. So Liverpool on third on 18, Spurs fourth on 17, Chelsea on 17 in fifth. Sunderland dropped back to sixth place. They play on Monday night, and United in 17th. In eighth place, Man City on 16 points. So there's a lot of pressure on City today to get a win in that game. But Arsenal, looking good at the moment, and it's going well in the Premier League. But of course, attentions turn to the Champions League on Tuesday when Arsenal go to take on Slavia Prague. They haven't started well, Slavia Prague. You would expect changes, and you'd expect another win, wouldn't you, Curtis?
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at their results. I think they've drawn 2 and lost 1. They lost to Inter 3-0. They drew with Bodo Glimt. And they drew with Atalanta, which ain't a bad result. So they're obviously not too bad defensively. But you'd expect us to go there and beat them. Be interesting. Zubimendi suspended for this game with a yellow card. So the dynamics of the midfield, does he just put Norgard in there? Does he put Marino in there? I'm a little bit concerned about this game because Rice is 1 yellow card away from a suspension, and we've got Bayern Munich in the next game. So he needs to tread carefully in this game. You don't want to be playing Bayern Munich with no Rice.
Would you leave him out?
I mean, but then that is the one area of the pitch I don't think our cover is actually that good when we talk about our squad depth. After Rice and Zubimendi, Norgard and Marino doesn't give me great confidence if they were in the team for a long period. But has he got the discipline to just not really put a tackle in? You're playing. What would you guys do? Would you leave Rice out?
No, I don't think you can. Don't think you can for this one because I've got Marino up top.
I'd leave Rice out.
Yeah,
I'd leave Rice out. You want him for that Bayern Munich game, man. That Bayern Munich game's important. You know how easy it is to pick up yellow cards in Europe. Yeah. So he's got to just nudge someone. And if you get the wrong ref, them just run over and just dash it. I'd leave Rice out. I'd leave him out, man. I think we should have enough with, Norgard. He's played a couple of games now. He's start with obviously there's no Zubimendi anyway because he would have been injured probably anyway. So give him a full rest. But yeah, I'd go Norgard. I mean, interesting. Give us your 11s then, Jack. Start with you. Give us your 11.
I mean, I was going to go pretty similar to Brighton. To be honest, I don't think Slavia Prague are a way better team than Brighton. I'd
8 changes. Would you make as many as that for a Champions League?
I'd keep Raya in goal just for the consistency. Yeah. I wouldn't put Kepa in. The back line, I'd be happy to have Mosquera and Hincapié back in. I thought they looked all right at Brighton. Obviously, I think we mentioned Mosquera had a few moments, but it'd be good to have them in. I'd change the fullbacks again. Ben White for Timber. Give Timber that rest. Left back, Mars Lewis Skelly in for Calafiori. Midfield, yeah, I get the issue here. I would have liked to start Declan Rice, but I think it's more important to have him available for Bayern. And like Robbie said, I think the yellow cards in the Champions League are a different breed to the Prem. So we can't count on him being perfect for 90 minutes, especially quite a physical team. I'd go with Norgard, Marino, and Wanyeri personally in midfield. Not the most exciting, but I think it's good enough to get a job done against Slavia. Left, I'd put Eze. Up front, that's where it gets sticky, but I'd probably keep Gyökeres. I think the only reason he went off was a concussion sub. From what I'm seeing, he got an elbow to the face, but he looked pretty good at full time. I saw him laughing about Trossard. So he got a rest the other week, so he should be fit for this. I'd go Eze, Gyökeres, and is Daumann in the Champions League? Is it too soon? I don't know.
He's back at school.
Half
term's finished.
Yeah, after it's finished, they might not let him out. But he looked good against Brighton, so I think Brighton are a decent team. So why not? If his mum lets him, let's start him right wing Max Daumann. I got to rep my boy.
Do you know what? I like that. I just don't know if I'd make it. I don't think Arteta will make that many changes in the Champions League. I think he'll look at that.
I'd make loads of changes.
What's yours? Then?
I would make a lot, but I just don't know if Arteta will look at like 8-9 changes, man. I think he'll feel like an away game in Europe, Bayern Munich next. They've just drawn away with Atalanta as well, Prague. So they've obviously got a little bit of defensive nous about that. I agree with you. I think Hincapié and people like that would definitely play them. I'm comfortable bringing them in. Obviously, if Gyökeres is fit, that's an interesting one. Because if he's not, then you have got to put Marino up top. Wanyeri definitely for me needs to start. I think we need to put a bit more trust in him as well. whether you play him in the 10. And then Martinelli, that one, he hasn't really said a lot about that injury, has he? Which always worries me a little bit. He's not available. Why is it? Oh, no. But yeah, he's very, very coy on that one. So, but I do think he'll make changes, but maybe not as many as the Brighton game.
I'll play Kepa and goal.
Would you?
Yeah, I would. I think he was really good the other day. I got White, Mascara, Kepa, and Miles Lewis-Skelly. I'd play Rice if I go along with it. If Gyökeres is fit, then I wouldn't. But I think you've got to play Marino up top. Eze, I've got Dalman in, and I'm going Norgard, Rice, and Wanyeri. I think that, listen, the likes of White and Norgard, they need games. They need, you know what I mean, like. And I think that he got a game on Wednesday. I thought he got better as the game went on, Norgard. But I think it's just lack of minutes which is not helping him at this moment in time. So I think it's vital that he gets some real minutes now. So you know, do you remember at the beginning of the season he was injured, wasn't he? Like, you know, so I think that he needs it. White definitely does, and I think that the likes of Trossard, I thought Trossard, by the way, worked really, really hard yesterday. Like, you know, that they're important for sadly for me. I think the Sunderland game is such a big game. You know, and if there's any doubt on Gyökeres, I'm not risking him. You know, because I know there was a drop off yesterday and all that, but I think you could see yesterday how important he is to us. And that Sunderland game, I think, is more. Sorry, guys, for me, Sunderland is much bigger than this game in my eyes. You know what I mean? So I would make a lot of changes.
I'd make changes, but I wouldn't go mad. I'd have a mixture. I wouldn't go like Carabao Cup changes. You know what I mean? I think, you know, because remember in that Carabao Cup too, you say they're not as good as Brighton, but Brighton made a lot of changes as well, right? So for me, I'd go a mixture. I'd probably still keep Gabriel, for instance, in this game. I'd have Ben White in for Timber. I'd have Miles Lewis-Skelly in for Calafiori, but I'd probably have Gabriel and Mosquera at the back. I want to keep that solid. Right, I'd leave out Rice just because he's on that yellow card, right? So I'd have Norgard, Marino, and Eze. And Wanyeri in the midfield, and then I'd have Eze on the left. I'll probably go down the middle with Trossard, and then Saka on the right hand side. To me, Saka, you know, I think he's fit now. He came on the other day. He just had a bad game yesterday, in my opinion. He came on during the week and scored. And I just think you need a mixture. And then on the bench, I'd have some, you know, pretty strong players as well. The one thing to be learned is look at Liverpool last week when they went with all kids and that on the bench, and they had nothing to respond to if things are going wrong. And, you know, the good thing about that Sunderland game is that we've got our game on Tuesday in Prague, but they also play on Monday night. So they don't have a mega, you know what I mean? It's not like they've got, you know, like we've just played on a Thursday or Wednesday and they got to play, you know what I mean? It's similar sort of times to sort of, you know, be in training, etc. So, but I think, you know, let's get that win. You know, it's important that we keep winning. It's important that, you know, in that Champions League, we keep that momentum going, because we don't want to get into a situation of qualifiers and stuff like that. And those winnable games, we've got to make sure we win them, because that Bayern Munich game is going to be a really tough game. They ain't lost a game yet in their league, and they're looking good. So we definitely need to make sure we got Rice for that game. So I wouldn't be starting with Rice for sure. Let's take a look. You know, let's get some predictions on that. And also, let's take a look at the prediction table. I know Lee's been waiting for this all show.
What a week he's had.
Yeah.
Had a good week.
Here we go. There's the table. Oh no, that's the wrong one. Here we go. Lee on 8 points. Jack 6 points. So both of them got the exact result right. Which was they both went for 2-0, which like you were saying, Kurt, it's almost like the go-to score now, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Arsenal team. And me and Curtis are both there on 4 points, but a little bit of a lead for Lee at the top. He's extended his lead at the top.
Well, the thing is now we're under pressure because whatever Lee says, you almost don't want to say that because you need to catch him up. So if he says 2-0, I'm screwed for this Slavia Prague game.
Guess what I'm going to go with?
So you start off, Lee.
0-2.
Sorry.
All right, Jack, you're next.
I was gonna go with it, but I copied you last week to sort of catch up with you, but now I've got to overtake you. So I'm gonna go 3-0. Why not 3-0?
Oh man, nice. Under all sorts of pressure here, man. I'm gonna go 1-0.
Ooh, I was thinking of that, Curtis. I was thinking of that.
We're under pressure, man. I actually don't think it will be 1-0, but I'm just gonna go for 1-0. Maybe we make changes.
All right, I'll go 3-0 then. Got her in. I ain't got much choice. Yeah. I'm gonna go for 3-0. 3-0 to the Arsenal. Oh, this guy. I mean,
he wins 2-0. We're cooked already, aren't we? You know what I mean? Someone should have matched him up 2-0 as well.
Yeah, he's got that little star there and all that. You know what I mean? He's feeling good about himself. You know. Yeah. Okay. But game on Tuesday night. We're off there tomorrow, Lee. I'm looking forward to it, Prague.
I am looking forward to it. It'll be a good trip. Never been there before, Prague, so I'm really looking forward to it. Like, you know, so apparently it's going to be cold with me cold as well. I'm not looking forward to that, but I'm looking forward. To be honest, I'm looking forward to every Arsenal game in a minute. As soon as that game finished yesterday, I was buzzing for Prague, and I'll be looking forward to Sunderland. Maybe not the drive, but certainly getting up there and watching the Arsenal. It's very enjoyable watching Arsenal at the moment. Like, you know, so looking forward to it.
Okay, listen, let's get, as we do on this show, we give you guys a chance to send in your voice notes, right? And we respond to them. If you want to send a voice note in, especially following that game against Prague, because we'll be back the day after that with another Fourever Arsenal. That's the number there. It's on your screen, 07, if you're in England, 07856 408 351. If you're outside of the UK, +44. Or scan that QR code on your screen, and you can then send us your voice note in. Don't make them too long. We've had a few that have been like, you know, podcasts themselves, right? And obviously they're too long for us to respond to. I think we've got a couple here. Let's see if we can get the first one. Let's see what we got here.
Hi guys, absolutely love the podcast. Ono from London. Just a quick question. Let's do with the best manager of the Emirates era. I think the best manager of the Highbury era for most fans would be Arsene Wenger. But my question is, in terms of the Emirates era, if Mikel Arteta were to win the Premier League this season, would that place him above Arsene Wenger in terms of best Emirates era manager at Arsenal Football Club? Thank you.
I think so. I mean, going early.
Go on.
I mean, yeah, I'm a younger fan, so maybe I got a different view on this. Obviously, Arsene Wenger is the reason that the Emirates is there in the first place. So you've always got to have that in the back of your head. But I think any manager that was to come in and win us our first league title in 20 or so years is going to go up there, especially when he's only competing with FA Cup wins. So yeah, I don't see why not. Other than maybe a nostalgic bias, I would say Arteta will have it if he wins the league.
Listen, if he wins the league, he is. But at this moment in time, Arsene Wenger's won 3 FA Cups. You know what I mean? So you'd have to say that. I think that it's been more pleasurable watching Arsenal over these last 2 or 3 seasons than it has been when because in the Arsene Wenger time, you'd get some good results, and then there will be a bad one round the corner, like, you know. So. But he has won 3 FA Cups in that time. So, if Arteta wins the league this season, there's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately Wenger was 2 different managers: the Highbury Wenger and the Emirates Wenger. The one at Highbury is the one why there's a statue outside. I think you give him some credit because obviously he stuck by the club when we moved to the Emirates and we sold our best player every year. So he managed a storm, but ultimately I think he didn't achieve what we hoped. They said compete with Bayern Munich and all that. We were getting smashed by Bayern Munich. So if he wins that title, I think you can definitely say, he'd be the only title manager in that stadium. But get over the finish line, and then we have that conversation.
And I agree with you, Curtis. I think if he gets over there, I think that's all he's missing right now, Arteta, so that we say that. If he wins a league, he's already won an FA Cup, but if he wins a league, then in the Emirates era, of course, he's changed his team, man. Like, we once again have a team that we look at and say, this team can win a title. And we've come close the last 3 seasons, right? And he's turned us from being where it was just all about the top 4 and can we make top 4 into can we win the title? We never used to have them conversations for even the most of the time when Arsene Wenger was there. And I know he had hardships in what he had to deal with, but how many times are we talking about can we win the title? Hardly ever, were we?
Yeah.
The conversation was top 4.
Yeah.
Mikel Arteta, nobody talks about top 4 ever. About getting into the top 4. It's about can we win the league? The conversations are if you don't win the league, what's going to happen? We weren't. People forget we never used to have them conversations. We weren't competing for the league. He's got us competing for the league year in, year out. So, and last year, semi-finals of the Champions League, I think all he's missing is that league. And if he wins that, then he's right up there. Definitely right up there. Let's say the next one.
Yes, guys. Hi there. My name is Tommy, speaking from Canada. And big up Curtis, big up Robbie, big up Max Diamond region, big up Lee Judges, big up everyone in AFTV. Really love the show, love the new pod. You guys are doing great things. And my question to you guys is, do you guys think that winning the Premier League and winning the Champions League this season, like winning both, do you guys think that is a possibility? Lovely pod, guys, and hopefully get an answer. God bless.
God bless. Winning both. Whew. Listen, I think this team, when I look around Europe, this team is capable. I'm not saying they're going to, but it's capable of winning both. Remember last year we got to the semi-final. People forget that, I think people forget. Last year we got to the semi-final, beat Real Madrid over 2 legs, got to the semi-final. Weren't absolutely, PSG didn't wipe the floor with Arsenal, did they?
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? Like what they did in the final with Inter. So, of course, I feel we have a chance. There's a lot of luck in the Champions League, luck of the draw you get, that sort of stuff. But certainly I think we're capable of winning the league, and I think we're capable of winning the Champions League. So my answer to that is yes, we can, but you got to go and do it, innit? That's the thing. You got to go and do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I was happy to let you go first because I thought they're going to clip him up if he says something crazy. I think the key word that you said was capable. Capable is the key word. Why? I said this yesterday. Arsenal should be trying to win all 4 trophies, and I mean properly trying to win all of them. If you're the best team in the league, you're top of the league, you should be then the favourites for the FA Cup and favourites for the Carabao Cup, especially with the squad depth we've got. Obviously, the Champions League's the sort of unknown. We've never won it, but there was a time Chelsea had never won it, and they've done it. Man City had never won it. So we were a couple of Donnarumma saves away from being in the final last year, and I think we'd have beaten that Inter Milan team in a one-off game. I know we didn't beat them in the group game, but I think we'd have done them in the final. So we've got to go for everything. It's unlikely we'll win both, but they've got to try and win both of them. And you never know. Sometimes these seasons happen out of nowhere.
Yeah, just echoing what you guys
capable of winning all 4. Capable.
So you're saying we're winning the quad, Lee? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying that. We're in the quarterfinals of the League Cup. We got a chance.
Yeah,
as you say, the draw's got to be favourable. It was in the League Cup when we picked up a home draw. We're capable, but like, I think to win them all in the same seasons, you know, very, very difficult, especially when you haven't won one for 20 odd years. Listen, I'm happy with if we could win the Premier League this season, I'd be more than happy.
Yeah.
Jack?
Oh, yeah, just echoing again what you guys said, capable, but do I think we'll do it? No. I mean, Lee seems to have us down to win the lot, so I'll stick with that. But I don't know. The only thing I will say about the Champions League that people forget as well is that I think about it all the time, that Mikel Merino goal at home to equalise where he's offside by literally like this much, and I just always think that if his boot was an inch smaller, could we have got to that final? And like you said, I do think we would have beat Inter. So I do think about that. But yeah, this season, just give me one of them, I'll be happy.
It's tiny margins at the end of the day. It's tiny margins in some of these things, especially those cup competitions. I think in the league, when you've got you can do that consistently over a season, but it's tiny, tiny margins. All right. Thank you very much. Once again, voice notes. Scan the QR code on the screen, or you got the number there. And we'd love to hear from you, right? Especially we're going to be back after that Slavia Prague game. So get those voice notes into us, and we will definitely play them out on the show. Before we go, we got to get into our comment of the day. Let's start with Curtis.
Yeah, I like this one. The check will be in the post for this one. Walk the Talk says, having Curtis on this show is like having Haaland playing for your club up front week in, week out. Great show as always. Big up the man them. I mean, I know he's a Man City player, but you take that if you can get it, don't you? You know what I mean? So I take that.
Check in the post for sure, man.
Check.
What you got, Jack?
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. I had it live.
No preparation. Look, he's all over the place.
I am, but it was about Cheeto. I remember seeing it.
No, let's see it. Let's hear it.
I got it.
All right.
Matthew Whitman, 7285, commented saying after the Andre Anus little speech I went on last time, saying he wonders how much Cheeto Obi regrets chasing the bag, and says something saying, wrote this before hearing Robbie say it. Don't know if that's any reference to you, but yeah, Cheeto Obi Martin. I like that comment purely down to the fact that I was hurt when he went. Speaking to Andre's brother, he was apparently an absolute menace in the academy. He really was what the people were talking about him. He was so good. So to lose him was bad. But yeah, I do wonder what he's thinking now after seeing Anus get some game time.
Said it last week. Like, you know, if he would have stayed, I'm sure he'd be getting more game time now. And this is why sometimes some of these young players will be a bit patient. But now I don't even see him on the bench at United. Like, he doesn't seem to be nowhere near it.
Yeah.
Did he even play in that Carabao Cup game against Grimsby? Did he play in that?
No. Sesko was the top one. He taking the 10th penalty.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, he was breaking all sort of records. So yeah.
Lee.
Yeah, unlike Curtis, I'm a team player, not like it was all about individualities. So I've gone on. The show is improving by the day. Love it. Big up to the panel. Like, it's a big thing for me. Like, you know, like there's a couple of in there about the chemistry and everything like that. So I think, like, you know, yeah, I'm really I'm enjoying it myself, and you can see that the chemistry and everything's getting better. So so it's not all about yourself, Curtis. It's about the team.
Saraf, this is my one. Saraf W121. He says, Robbie, recently you were saying that you would like to get to know the scouts that unearthed the likes of Max Dowman. He says you're also brilliant at the job of scouting and unearthing the next superstars for AFTV. Jack is fantastic. Also, a big shout out going out to the other superstars who have joined you recently, Christian, Ella, and Kenya. Notice he ain't got Marty in there, you know what I mean?
No, you're down.
No smarty Marty. He says, keep up the good work. I love this podcast. And I love that one.
Yeah, brilliant.
Do you know what? There's one more, Rob, right? And I know you don't usually double up, but this one's hilarious, right? Arsenal Future said the cast and their lookalikes. He said Robbie Ainsley Harriott.
Have you called that before?
He said Curtis David Hay. He said Jack Hector Bellerin, and he said Lee Yap Stam, which I thought that was
Good centre half he was.
good centre half, Lee. You know, although I've seen your flashy boots you're wearing, you're not playing centre half.
Well, that's it for today. Listen, great show, guys. Of course, we're going to be back after the game against Slavia Prague. And also we'll look ahead to that game against Sunderland. Sunderland, of course, play on Monday, so we'll get to take a little look at Sunderland and see what they were all about. They're at home as well. So against Everton, tough game for them. So it'd be interesting to see how they get on in that game, be able to gauge how, what our tactics should be when we go up against Sunderland. And of course, big game in the Champions League on Tuesday night, Slavia Prague away. Me and Lee are lucky enough to be there, and then we'll be back on the Wednesday with another Forever Arsenal, so make sure you look out for that. Thank you very much for watching. Again, send your voice notes in. Keep those comments coming in. We absolutely love to read them, and we'll see you again during the week.